I'm going to actually go grab him over.
Look at him go, he's running. He's Wittmaning. I got a video of him running.
Oh, he's hilarious.
I know he is.
Just set the camera down. Tape him.
Should.
Turn right here.
I was watching him fly around the corner. I'll do it. Yeah, I got a video of him running. He ran around the corner. It's funny.
Why are you recording?
Because I can.
Huh?
Because I can.
Okay.
I should make them
Right there's one.
I don't care.
Just about all of you will need to see this. Go around, right around. Okay, so you're going to have pumps in two halves. Everybody. Lance, this is going to... So if you take a look, here's the halves of the pump. See how those bolts align that? Not well at all. It moves side to side, it twists. So I need to line this so that it's in a perfect circle. If it's off to the side, I think in the last day of that other class they said, here's one pump half, and here's the other pump half, and they're going to go down into a circle, right? If you bolt them together off, you will not get them into the transmission. You'll try to pull them into place. So, we need to align the pump halves. We will do that, in this case, by have a couple different size bands. At that time I had told you it's nothing more than basically a big hose clamp, only this one's got a nice knob to turn on it so that I can put it on. By the way, this bolt then sometimes gets in the way. I have some simpler ones that actually have the bolt right in line so the bolt doesn't get in the way of the pump half. So what your first thing you're going to have to do is get rid of the seal that's on there because that seal sticks out and would prevent the band from doing its alignment job. So you have to have that off when you do this. And because it can rotate and get off to the side, by the way, pump halves, I always run a file over them because there's no gasket in between. So anything that holds it apart is going to let the fluid go back and forth across all the passages inside. So I'm going to take my alignment band, and in this case, here's where the pump halves meet. I want to take and put the alignment band across this area here. So with this particular tool, that requires it from coming up from the bottom. And just make it like...
Getting your nuts down?
Yeah.
Better yet,
Or I will
Tony's
have to
nuts.
get a bigger one.
Actually, they're Wittman's nuts.
Those are Wittman's nuts?
Yeah.
Really?
There we go.
I didn't know that. Where'd he get such a large nut?
Lots of room.
As bad as this sounds, that is a Wittman's nut sack over there.
I just want to get it stuck where it's going to hold itself a little bit.
Huh?
You should. Living.com.
Okay, so once I've got it, you can see that I'm crooked. That's why it was so loose. I want to get it absolutely straight around there because when it runs at an angle, it's going to pull it sideways, right? So I want it to be level all the way around. I want to snug it up, make sure it's level. Now that has made it a circle, but my passages can still be twisted a little bit such that it's hard to get the bolts through. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to look down through the bolt holes and I'm going to twist it side to side so the bolt holes line up. And once that happens, then I'm going to torque my bolts on the pump and have the pieces in. Now it should be a perfect circle, and the bolt holes should be in line so that I can drop it into the case. A must on the 4L60s. Remember, I did say some of the Fords, actually your C6s, they're self-aligning, aren't they? They were the ones that had a ring in the middle and the stator support was quite small, so you could just drop it in and it went. All the rest of them will need a pump alignment.
Why don't they just put
except for his 45 RFE, another one that's a little different. Why don't they put alignment pegs on it, or like the Ford, they had a recessed collar? That all costs money. They'd have to drill 2 holes, put 2 pins in there, and they can have you do this.
That was for all the man hours that they got to put in extra factory to do this.
Yep, I agree. In the factory, they probably have just a cylinder. They just drop it in, and it's going to hold it. Tapered cylinder, drop it in, and it'll stop. You know, align everything, and just put the bolts in. So there you go. Then you got to put the, remember, put that O-ring on, and if I have, ooh. Oh, they got the filter in. I wanted to make sure. On a 4L60, there's a filter in. That's pump output. If you forget to put that in, I can tell you from the last class, all the fluid right out of the pump just dumps there. Then they also forgot to put this O-ring around the outside. So when the pump pumped that oil out there, it all just ran right out on the ground. Ooh. And that wasn't good, so we had to pull the transmission back out, pull the pump out, put the filter and the O-ring back on, and then it worked great. You don't want to make those mistakes when we got 1 week left. So.
That's how it's done.
What?
That's how it's done.
See, that's why I would have been halfway tempted on that one you had, even though the pump was together, to see if it would go down any easier.
Yep.
Sometimes people use an alignment band, and if they're not careful, it can be off a little bit and still go in, but take quite a bit of force.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot all about your C6, doesn't need that.
Cool.
It's a good way to screw up a tranny overhaul in a case. Scratch the case, because like yours, it was pulling in crooked.
Yeah.
That same thing would happen if you had the pump way off.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, he wanted a demo on that too.
I just wanted you to show me.
Okay, and I could demo for the other people.
Demo derby.
No video about this.
There's another look, it's made of.
I'm looking for an overhead plastic sleeve. I'll go get a couple out of the classroom.
Wittman!
There's one. I need 2 maybe, or hey, there we go. If you have problems
What's
putting
that
the clutch in,
thing
when I see how to
It's a
use
camera.
it, there it is.
You take pictures and video with it.
For what, though?
For whatever you want.
It's yours or what?
Yeah.
All right. We'll make you sign the release here.
What's that, Lance?
I said you didn't ask me what was going on. I don't want to be on this camera.
Oh.
Where's the release form?
Don't need one of those.
No release form.
Why do you need a release
It's going to
form
be
for?
broadcast to the masses on YouTube.
It could be. Actually, for legality reasons, the only thing is one person in the party has to know that the recording's taking place. I checked.
Oh, I have those wire tools. Don't break his. I'll give you a brand new one.
That's what I got one.
Okay. They'll sometimes tell you when you do anything, seal installation, you use a feeler gauge.
Why am I what?
Recording
Yeah.
Because I can.
But I don't like these because it's like knife blade. It's very easy to cut.
Why does it bug you? Of course.
Pretty sharp? Oh, yeah.
What's in a bag and stuff like that?
When it comes to putting lip seals in, this particular clutch is pretty hard to get in.
Yeah, show me how to do that.
So, actually, I do want to go over and get the
SDP it.
SDP it, but when you come, it's the outside seal. They put the aftermarket puts a longer lip on, which seals better, but it's hard to get in. So what I like to do for the outside is I actually put this sheet or 2 sheets down inside of there, so they're going to keep the lip from catching on the drum down in there. So when I put the piston in, I only have to worry about the middle. And for that, then I take my
Why don't you use another one of them?
I could. But usually this seal isn't quite such a bad problem. And when I use a lip seal tool, no downward pressure on the piston. That could trap the tool. I'm just trying to get that seal to start. I think it's in.
Well, bam.
I lifted it up when I lifted the sheet up. I should have held it down. But it drops right in where you were fighting with that and it didn't want to go, did it?
Yeah, sure. You should show them too, though.
Huh?
Show them too.
They didn't want to come over and watch.
I know. So they're gonna fight.
What's up? Oh. Camera shy? Oh. That's good.
So does Mark, huh?
Dan's not.
You're not straight?
I'm gonna bring a video.
Dan's not. I guess Kufal doesn't like me recording or something.
Can't eat that part.
Oh.
I activated making the transmission.
How long can I record?
I don't know.
Let's
go to work.
Video my demonstrations. You can go look at the videos as we go along. And that way, if we got done, you could.
You say we can leave the call.
Huh. I could.
I think you should.
Should I?
Yeah, then I could just put it under Wittman and then I could go.
Edit it. Put it on BoobTube.
Edit what?
Can you do that?
I'd leave it just, I can do it tonight if I wanted to.
We'll make it so it's not so long.
Yeah, you don't need to put this part in there.
Oh, it's a whole one video clip. I don't edit anything, I just take video of what I want and put it on. Yep. I got a few. Have you ever looked at my stuff? I got a channel. I probably got half a dozen videos on there. More than that.
Most of the amp probably met.
Whoa. That's what you put on YouTube?
Yeah.
Really? I'll have to not check that out.
Tools from them?
Didn't know there was specialty tools.
There were those plastic. Here's one.
4T60 or 4L60E.
Frickin' no wonder why I can't get it.
It's no wonder why.
They were sitting right where the other tools were. See, I already got that one on.
Yeah.
So now it's just this one.
Well, that would have helped me a long time ago and would have saved my partner. a
Well,
lot
if you
of
would be
frustration.
reading the book, they would have showed you those tools.
I don't know how to read. At what school?
Did you get that?
I did.
Hey!
Hey, where else would I find a book?
Oh, I looked upstairs for one. I was going to ask Ray.